Hi, my name is Keith Harper. I'm founder and CEO of Above and Beyond Talent Acquisition Inc. We're a New York City-based full-service staffing firm providing contingent staff, full-time staff, and executive search. Late payments, I would say, at least in our case, have been the biggest challenge that we've ever faced. I say that because we met a tremendous amount of growth in a very short period of time. And within that tremendous amount of growth came a tremendous amount of added responsibility, additional staff, additional vendors, additional resources, all of which have fixed costs that we cannot put off. We have to pay them on a fixed schedule, but we're relying on payment from our invoices to meet those payments. So, whereas the invoices that we have out are very meaningful and appreciative, if they don't get paid, they're meaningless. So, and when they're paid late, it just sets off a chain reaction of bad events. So we've actually gotten to the point, in some cases in the recent past, that we were in danger of failing as a business simply because we could not maintain a positive cash flow. We could not maintain that positive cash flow because of the late payments from our clients. And having access to capital was really not there. It was to the point where we had to reach out or entertain offers from predatory lenders. And looking really in depth at their terms, it was not the right decision to make, which we didn't, thankfully. But I can see where other companies have had to do it because we came very, very close to having to go that route. With traditional banks, the process is a nightmare. I understand their need to mitigate risk and so on and so forth, but the requirements needed for a moderate loan or line of credit are just absolutely tremendous. The documentation, the signatures, the contracts, it's the process itself. In my experience, regardless of what it is, whether it's a loan or a line of credit or anything along those lines, the process takes months. When it comes to business, I've tried to get business loans, I've tried to get lines of credit. The process is, once you supply them with the 500 documents they're asking for, they come back and ask for 300 more. It's an ongoing process where in a small business, when you're growing, you often need money and capital now to pay the bills that are due in 24 hours. You need to pay the bills that are coming. You need to have money to scale up. And I think the biggest frustration with the big banks are when I have applied for loans that would help me grow my company and meet the demands that we have now, their offer would come in often at 10 to 20% of what my requested amount is, which again, it's not helpful. So, or it's helpful, but not helpful enough. I was introduced to Crowdz by a forum, an online forum in which I'm a part, and I read some of the threads, and a thread about financing came up. And one person on that thread mentioned a Crowdz program through Meta Fast Track for minority-owned businesses. I clicked on the link, I looked at it, I read through. What I read was, it honestly sounded too good to be true, but I said, let me just try. So I tried. I filled out the application, which was maybe 20 minutes, but provided all the information. I received an offer in no time, and the offer was well above and beyond anything I ever expected, and stated that it could be funded in 24 hours. I thought it was too good to be true, so I sat on it for about 3 weeks. I was reluctant. I thought that it was, it couldn't be real. So, but after reaching a point of no return, I finally decided to do it. And lo and behold, the funds were deposited. We were able to carry on with the business. We've been able to move forward with the business. That introduction, I don't even remember who it was that directed me to Crowdz, but I am incredibly thankful because it's been life-changing. And honestly, I'd venture to say business saving. This is actually an easy question because not only have I answered it several times in the past, but it's something that I enjoy discussing because I was facing challenges in the area of access to capital. I met with the heads of my traditional bank, which I've banked for over 30 years. And regardless of having an excellent personal credit score, and regardless of having provable exponential growth within the company, having everything necessary to get a loan, the monies being offered were not helpful. Crowdz stepped in and not only purchased invoices at a ridiculously low rate, but delivered the capital within hours. The experience has been fantastic, and the helpfulness is insurmountable. Again, I have probably said this before in my answers. I've definitely told plenty of people about this, but this Crowdz program has literally, I believe, saved my business, and I feel as though they've given us an opportunity to really grow and expand the way every small business wants to. I really cannot overstate how much Crowdz has helped me to be able to stay current on all of my fiscal responsibilities to my vendors while waiting for invoices from my clients. In a ballpark range, we have sent in to Crowdz hundreds of invoices. Those hundreds of invoices total in the millions of dollars. Ballpark, I want to say we probably to date received close to 2 million, if not a little over 2 million from Crowdz. Our payment terms against those invoices were set at anywhere from 45 to 100 days. And Crowdz funded those invoices in less than 24 hours. I'd say after setup, or even during setup, the Crowdz platform was and remains to be very simple and straightforward. The application process, a breeze. If you've got your documentation, bam, it was done. Like I said, I think it was like maybe 20 minutes. The use of the platform it's easy. It's intuitive. We were able to get through it with no problem. Anytime we did meet any kind of issue, the support team jumped in and resolved it pretty quickly. But to date, honestly, there have been no, reportable or really impactful issues with using the Crowdz platform. So I'm appreciative. I have used and currently use actually 2 separate lines of credit and have applied for loans which we're actually still in application process after months. But the lines of credit took months of supplying document after document after document after document. Not only that, the lines of credit, the amounts that have been offered in both lines of credit that we currently have are a fraction of what's available to us through Crowdz. On the other hand, what we've been able to do with Crowdz was expeditious. The amounts were exponential when compared to the monies available to us through the lines of credit. And through Crowdz, the costs have been and remain to be the most competitive I've ever seen in any kind of business loan, line of credit, invoice purchase offer. So it is, it's absolutely my preferred vehicle in which to access capital from a business. Now, by extending or actually reducing the payment terms on our invoices, we were provided with additional access to capital in a very short period of time, which we have leveraged to maintain consistency on paying our vendors and our employees on a consistently regular basis. In other words, we have not been late on anything. And that's something that we've always done, but it became harder to do as the number of invoices grew and the invoice terms increased, the payment terms increased from our clients. And just because of the normal course of business, invoices can be paid late. So this has alleviated all of those concerns and issues. So alleviating those concerns, we've been able to grow the business. We've increased our internal staff because we have more working capital. We've been able to actually take on more business where we had to slow our growth to a point because we were growing too fast and we didn't have the capital to fund the new growth. We now have it. We have access to it. So we're looking at growing. I'm smiling now because we had a very, very positive day yesterday, which we were able to take on new business because we have capital to fund it. So we've been able to leverage it in multiple ways. Small businesses that are on the fence about using this Crowdz program, my advice is use it. I wholeheartedly endorse it. I am a current user. I was a skeptic initially because it truly seemed too good to be true. And usually when something is too good to be true, it turns out not to be true. This was not the case with this program. I was hesitant. I did as much research as I possibly could. I consulted with multiple people, and once I finally did decide to use it, I have not looked back. This program, comparatively speaking, the rates are lower than any other product that I've ever seen. And that's outside of business. That's car loans, mortgages, student loans, anything else. Again, it seemed too good to be true because the rates are incredibly low. The amounts can be comparatively very high to what traditional banks would offer. And there's very little impact to your business as a small business, especially when you compare it to those predatory lenders that are out there charging upwards of 18%, things of that nature. So yeah, I would not hesitate at all to jump in head first. And it's available. It is a real program. I say, don't hesitate, just use it.